Like, wow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Goodness of Hope channel.
Welcome back, guys.
Exactly.
For episode, what's this?
4, I think.
It's crazy.
It's
Look at
actually
me
crazy.
forgetting already.
Oh yeah, I mean, after
it's
the week
crazy.
we had, it makes sense.
Yeah. What a week.
What a week indeed.
You want to talk about your week first?
My week,
Guy.
you see, things were going well until the unplanned sickness happened, which, sickness doesn't come planned.
Yeah.
Duh.
Can't control.
Yeah,
when or if you
like,
get sick.
Really, I had an exam or so, and after the exam is when, I think for some reason, even probably because I was preparing for the exam, that I didn't even think about the fact I was sick. But after the exam, now I had nothing else to think about. I'm like, oh, I'm sick, bro.
Like, something's not right.
Something's not right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a very hectic week.
It really was.
For me too. Where should I even start from? I guess I could start with as you guys know, I'm an RA this year, and basically I have 18 freshman residents, and for RAs that with freshman residents, you're required to do like check-ins with them. So it's like a quick 15 to 20 minute meeting just to like check up on them and see how things are going their first couple weeks of campus. Guess what? They had 3 weeks to sign up for check-ins. And guess what week they all chose to sign up for a check-in?
The last week.
Yeah.
I'm actually not surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I would have done the same thing. So it's like, I can't blame them,
So yeah, it was a hectic week in that regard, but also like having like different assignments due. I have like assignments due coming up, projects to do coming up, and yeah, but this itself already feels like a full-time job. So it's like balancing everything is just like, yeah, like it's tough, but God has been good. God has granted, I'm sure, us peace in the midst of like the crazy storm that this semester is unfolding in. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, like, but I'm tired, I'm exhausted. You can see, I don't know if you can see it in my eyes, but yeah, I'm tired. And I'm sure he is too. So yeah,
Dude, yeah.
we really appreciate it if you guys just, just keep us in your prayers, and just pray that God will just continue to strengthen us to just continue to do his work and like do this. Because yeah, even though like this is like another commitment to our schedule, but it's also the Lord's work. So
Yeah.
I feel like that in itself, it like doesn't matter. Like what is more important than doing the Lord's work. So yeah, we would just really appreciate it, like your prayers, your encouragement, anything you can send our way right now. But yeah, that's kind of like a sum up of how last week was.
Yeah. And we'll probably come back to, like our week, how our week went, because some of it connects to our conversation today, right? Yeah. But I guess with that being said, before, we just stay on, like, before, taking too long.
Yeah, if you guys know us, you already know we like to yap a lot. But, so.
I guess we can introduce what today's topic is, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what are we gonna say?
No.
Why does God allow bad things to happen?
Yeah.
Why does God allow bad things to happen?
Yeah. So today's topic is more, I guess,
it's a tough one,
a heavy one. Yeah, one to really think about. One of very like solemn. Why does God allow bad things to happen? And we were thinking about like first, like I feel like we have to acknowledge that we live in a fallen world, right? A fallen, sinful world.
Yeah.
A Genesis 3 world. That it was our mistakes, it was our mess ups that led to the world of suffering that we live in now.
I was actually gonna ask, why is it fallen? Here's the answer. There we have it. It's because of us.
Yeah.
Our sinful nature, which we've talked about this multiple times already. the decisions we make, depending on our own desire,
Yeah.
what we want. Sometimes not thinking about what other people want,
Mm-hmm.
like what does what we want affect people in a bad way.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of different, things we could mention, but all those combined together, as a result, we have the fall world.
Exactly. I think this is a good opportunity to think about why bad things happen to good people. And I say like quote unquote because like we will be talking more about what it means to be good and what the Bible says
Mm-hmm.
it means to be good. But I feel like an example, it's like, I don't know, someone, when someone loses a loved one, like to like a really like traumatic accident or like a disaster, it's always like that person was so amazing. That person was so good. Like that person always cared about people. That was the most innocent person I knew. It's always like, yeah, like they didn't deserve it. It should have never happened to them out of all people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you hear that a lot.
Yeah, why them?
Yeah.
This like it could have happened to anyone.
Mhm.
I mean, we get to the point of deciding who it should happen to actually.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, like
Mhm.
I'm not in anyone's shoes, so like I can't express how
Yeah.
they feel. Yeah, I cannot. But yeah,
hmm Like this thing should have happened to this person, but it should have never happened to this person. This person deserved it, but surely this person did it. Right. Kind of like
Mhm.
comparing people when like God has created us all equally and he hasn't made one of us higher than the other.
No.
We have attached those um positions and those um I don't know those things to people of our choosing kind of.
Hmm.
Yeah. But
It's tough.
yeah. I feel like a good question to ask now is what does it mean to be good and is anyone good? So
What does it mean to be good?
good.
What is good?
I searched it up. It said good means to be desired or approved of.
Huh. Look at that. To be desired and
Or
approved of.
approved of. And is anyone good? So we see that good means to be desired or approved of. And the second part of is anyone good? Like good, again, tying back to what we were just talking about, is very subjective of like who we think is good, like who we think is righteous, who we think has good values, good morals. Like it's very subjective. We attach those titles to who we choose to attach it to.
Yeah, like personality, whether it be
Mhm.
personality, values,
Yeah. Mhm.
things we all like agree on. I don't know. A lot of things we can attach to.
Yeah. But maybe we can see what the Bible says about people being good. Mark
Yeah.
10:18. Mark 10:18. It says,
I actually have it here.
okay.
No one is good but the Lord.
Mhm. Yeah. And I guess I can also kind of like read it in context for you guys. Mark 10, it's when this is the part where like the rich man comes up to Jesus and says, calls him good teacher. What must I do to inherit eternal life? And then Jesus responds, why do you call me good? Jesus asked. Only God is truly good. But to answer your question, you know the commandments. You must not murder. You must not commit adultery. You must not steal. You must not testify falsely. You must not cheat anyone. Honor your father and mother. And I feel like it's good to finish the story up for like context purposes.
Hmm.
Teacher, the guy, the rich man replies, teacher, the man replied, I've obeyed all these commandments since I was young. Looking at the man, Jesus felt genuine love for him. There is still one thing you haven't done, he told him. Go and sell all your possessions and give the money to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come follow me. So we see in verse 18 that Jesus answers him. He says, why do you call me good? Like Jesus asked. He says, only God is truly good. And this is like very interesting to me because Jesus is 100% God, 100% man. We've talked about this in our previous episodes. He's one with the Father. Philippians tells us that he didn't count equality with the Father as something to be taken advantage of, but he's perfect. Like if anyone should be called good, is Jesus. But we see how humbly he is here, and we see how meek and lowly. Yeah, he's literally asking a rich man, like, why are you calling me good? And like, just because you see me doing miracles, just because you see my disciples following me, just because you see this notoriety that I'm like attaining, that doesn't mean I am good. Like right here, we see Jesus's character of saying that no, like even like um like he's directing all the glory to the Father. He's saying I'm not even like only God is good. Like why are you calling me good?
Mm-hmm. I guess we see, right there how good is not dependent on like what you do.
Yeah, I would tell us none of us is good. And it also goes back to Romans 5:8. It says we all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God.
Actually, like this is literally what we talked about, not too long ago about how subjective, good like good person is for everyone.
Yeah.
And good is different in terms of how what we attach to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then here we just saw how it says your action. No, like that doesn't define like whether you're good or not.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting.
Sure. Like so we see here that no matter how much we think people are quote unquote good or quote unquote righteous, the Bible says like no, none of us are. None of us are good or righteous because we all have sinned and fallen short of God's glory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think we continue to do so too, because
Mm-hmm.
like we will. It's like I think we want to make sure we make it clear that there won't be a point where like us people would be like good.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think because the reason I said this is because yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's like
Yeah.
it's not something like by the definition we just read. It's not something that we get to at some point. But anyway, I think we got what we wanted out of that verse,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Definitely. I think we can move on to Genesis 50:20 because we might view suffering as something doesn't that isn't for a reason, that we just kind of like have to like deal with,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing good can come out of suffering. But we see in Genesis 50:20, and we're gonna read that in a second, but we see in Genesis 50:20 that Joseph's brothers sell him into slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
To Egypt. And sometime afterwards he becomes like a powerful man in Egypt and basically like ruler, like, and basically like a position under Pharaoh. And then his brothers come back as there's a famine at home, and they go to Egypt for food, and Joseph like just starts to break down because like they're his brothers, and he loves them so much despite them selling him to slavery. And they start to apologize that like Joseph, we're so sorry for what we did. We know you can never forgive us. But Joseph says something interesting in Genesis 50:20. He says, you intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So we see some other versions also say that what the enemy meant for evil, God meant for good. So we see here that although Joseph acknowledged his suffering, acknowledged being sold into like slavery, acknowledged being in prison,
Mm-hmm.
he acknowledged all those things. He's saying, yes, that was evil, that was unjust, what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But he's saying God turned it around for good because now he's in a position to help his brothers and his father that are in famine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's hmm. How wow. How do you, because imagine being sold, like Joseph was.
Yeah. He was tied up and put in a pit.
Like, and then think about what he just said. You intend to harm me, but God intended it for good to come to
Yeah.
accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Just to say that, that's not easy. It's something easy to say, to the same, like I'm trying to put it in context to the same people that basically, like put you in a position
Yeah.
that you would, otherwise not want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how can he is he able to say that? Which is,
Yeah.
this is actually like crazy. Okay,
Exactly.
like, we read it. Okay, we understand. Like, okay, what the evil meant for good. I mean, for evil, for good, for evil, God meant for good. Okay, like, okay, I got the point, but like, how, like, try putting you, like, how can you do, like, how can you stay in a position of saying what Joseph said? That's just crazy to me.
Because I feel like oftentimes we think that our life should be on this linear path of like, okay, I'm just going up, increasing, increasing. There are no like drops.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing happening that's like making me kind of like go down. That's how we often view our lives as. But here we see Joseph, he descended to and then ascended. And he's acknowledging that like God doesn't always work according to our plans and how we think things should go.
Mm-hmm.
Like God, like his ways are not our ways, his thoughts are not our thoughts. It says in Isaiah. Like he doesn't like we follow him, he doesn't follow us. So whatever plan that we have set out for him, whatever, I don't know, the plan is like he's not subject to following what we think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to him whatever he wants to do in our lives, whether we lose a loved one, whether we lose our job, whether we lose our car, whether we fail a class, like he can still use it for good. Though of course we don't want to ever go through any of those things, but according to how God works, he doesn't mind us going through those things to bring us in order for him to get us where he wants us or where he
Mm-hmm.
needs us to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Yeah.
So if he has to take us through losing a loved one, losing a job, failing out of college, whatever, he's willing to take us through the fire and be refined by the fire to have us in a position that he wants us to have us in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say something that to add to that, but we'll get to this point later on.
Mhm.
So I'll let it pass for now. But it has to do with trusting God, because what you said, living through that, and then trusting what you see right now, and what you believe in, like, meaning basically being in a position of like where you're completely out of control. There's nothing you can do about it. And then being able to say, "Hey, God, I trust you." That's not like that's not an easy thing to do at all. I'm trying to think of it, like in a position of like why you in it, because if when something bad happens to me, like right away, I start like the first thing I think about is like, why me, or
Yeah.
like there's this other, like a lot of questions I keep asking myself. Like it's not the first thing. Going to God is not the first thing I do.
Hmm.
So it's like I just want to ask to think about. Um, I just want us to think about that as we are, like discussing today about if you are in positions, like for example Joseph, how would you have gone?
Hmm.
How would that have played out?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I can also like share an example of me experiencing suffering in my life. Um, it's 2025. 2019, I lost my dad. I was a freshman in high school, actually. Wow, that's crazy to think I was a freshman in high school.
it's been a while.
Um, you said what?
It's been a while.
Yeah. But I lost him at the end of my freshman year, and just a bit of a background story. He struggled with like high blood pressure and diabetes, and all in all, kind of like to make the long story short, he woke up one morning like saying how he wasn't really feeling too well. My mom rushed him to the hospital, and kind of like just went downhill from there with them like saying he had like multiple like strokes in his brain, to kind of like him enter into a coma. And he was in a coma. I think he entered in a coma sometime in October, and then all the way up to May. Basically, he was in a coma. And my mom, I admire my mom like so much. Like her strength was, yeah. She would literally go to Manhattan every day. Meanwhile, we live in Brooklyn, and for my New Yorkers, Brooklyn and Manhattan is a good hour train ride. But yeah, she would go to Manhattan every single day and just make sure that he's taken good care of, make sure like, like he's doing fine, he's doing well, and just like being always just being there for him. And yeah, but all in all, he was in a coma all through the 7 months, and those months were like literally the hardest times of like my life and my mom and my sister's lives and like our extended family lives. Just like we were praying to God like to do a miracle and to like bring him out of this coma, and it was tough. It was very, very hard. And I just remember kind of that day, believe it was like May 11th, when they like called all of us, me, my mom and sister. The doctor called all of us into like an office and had that conversation with us that since he got to the point where his kidneys weren't functioning anymore, so he had to be on like dialysis to so that like his blood will be cleansed. So like he got to that point, and they basically had him on like the life support machine. So he wasn't like breathing on his own anymore, and the doctor like told us he was brain dead, and like the only thing that was basically keeping him alive was the machine. But yeah, I just remember like hearing those words. It felt like my word was coming to an end. But all in all, I asked God so many questions throughout that time, like why, like why me, why him? What did he do to deserve it? He was the most kind, most loving, the best father I could ever ask for, honestly. So just seeing him going through that much pain, and just to see him like I just never thought like I would have lost him that soon. I would never thought I would have lost him like that. And I just had so many questions for God. And I was like, God, like, why now? Like my mom is now a single parent. Um, my dad, I mean, me, my sister and I are now gonna like be missing our dad for the rest of our lives. So I was just like, God, this seems this seems wrong. Like why did you let this happen? And in the midst of it, I had so many questions. I'm like, now I'm the only man in the house. Like I'm still, mind you, at that time I think I was like still like 14. I was like, didn't feel equipped. I was like, how am I gonna like lead in as the man of the house? And I just felt like I had so many more things to learn from him. in terms of like what it means to be a man, and like how a man should like carry himself, and like the mindset it takes to be like a successful like Christian man. And I just felt like I had so much more to learn from him. So I'm like, God, this doesn't make sense. Like I was still learning so much from him, but God, even through the pain, even through the suffering, I feel like Genesis 50:20 directly spoke to what the Lord did in our lives. Like what the enemy meant for evil, God meant it for good. Like, though my mom's a single parent, like she still has me, my sister. We all love each other. We're all always there for each other. I feel like my dad's passing in a way has brought us closer. Of course, like none of us would have wanted him like to go out. We would give anything to have us even like a second with him. But like just to see how much the Lord has did in our lives since then. Like I'm graduating college, talking by faith, speaking by faith, next year in May by the Lord's grace. My sister, what you say? It's happening. Amen. Amen. My sister graduated in 2024. Like we're all doing good. Like here, like on a full tuition scholarship. I could have never imagined myself like having. I was like valedictorian in high school. Um, all these things that the Lord has done, like internships, like opportunities, so many things like the Lord has done since then. It reminds me of a verse. The Lord just brought it to my mind. He said, David, I think it was in the Psalms, one of the Psalms. He said, I've been young, now I'm old. Never have I seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed beg for bread. So it was like there was never a time where me, my mom, and my sister like worried about what we were gonna eat for dinner or for lunch, right? Like the Lord always provided. He's proved himself as Jehovah Jireh, even in the midst of suffering. Jehovah Jireh, for those of you who don't know, just means like the God who provides. He's proved himself as that time and time again. He's never failed. So just to think that, like, although bad things happen, God will never leave or forsake us. He will always be by our side. He will always stand by us. Nothing shall separate us from his love, Romans says. So just to really think of and really meditate on it, like the pain that we might experience pales in comparison to the joy of the Lord being our strength. So yeah, that's just a short story of how I've seen suffering in my life and how God has been faithful in the midst of it, and how he will always be faithful in the midst of our sufferings. So
Thanks for sharing.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. He never leaves nor forsake us.
Yeah. Yeah, suffering is, will happen one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's actually why what is it called? Brought up, thinking about how would, if I was the one, how would that, gone? Like, especially like relating to Joseph's story, from the Bible. And I already have nothing to say. Like, I don't know what to say, So it's like, again, something I keep saying, I've said multiple times also in the past episodes, is it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
This path we're trying to follow, it's not easy.
Yeah.
We're asking the question about why these things happen. They do happen.
Mm-hmm.
But staying on this path, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's literally like driving a car, basically. You know,
Mhm.
you can choose to turn away, or you can choose to trust God.
Yeah.
And goodness kind of put it in perspective, like how, regardless of how hard things were, the good he's seen also, um, from people around him or in his family itself.
Yeah. Romans 8:28. Again, we brought this verse up in previous episodes, but it says, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. So
Yeah.
even the bad things, they all work together for good in the end.
Yeah, like right before goodness mentioned that quote, I was gonna say this is by no means about disregarding like the pain or the bad things that happen. This is about how do we, go from it.
Yeah.
Do we trust God? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess what is it called? We can keep moving on and then share about also um other like stories from the Bible as well, about how the examples that have already been given to us about how people, I think Paul and Silas is like a great example, but
Yeah.
I think we're not there yet. So but really though, goodness, thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
Really, like
God is good.
yeah, you said it all. Like I don't I don't know what to say.
What happened?
I said you've said everything that I was gonna ask questions after what goodness shared, but yeah, no questions from me.
But I feel like we can also talk a little about like us expecting that, like we're surprised when suffering happens. We always like it always catches off guard. Like, wait, why am I going through this? Psalms 34:19 says, "The righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time." Another version says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers them from it all." So it's like the Bible acknowledges that us Christians who have made righteous in Jesus' image, like we're going to go through suffering. It says many are the afflictions. Like many are the troubles of like the righteous, of Christians, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time. So there's also hope for us in our suffering. And then taking it like back to the cross, um, we see that on the cross, like God didn't abandon Jesus to the place of the dead when he was crucified and buried in a tomb. God didn't leave Jesus's soul in hell. He didn't abandon him. So why would he abandon us? He didn't abandon Jesus to the place of the dead. So he will not abandon us. Then Romans 8:18 says that the pain, like I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us.
Yeah.
So like whatever we're facing right now, like the death of a loved one, which is like probably like the most gruesome form of suffering anyone can ever face, is death. So even that, it pales in comparison to the joy that will be revealed to us the type of joy that creation is groaning and waiting for, that kind of joy, it pales in comparison to that joy that will be revealed to us when Jesus returns.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just really hope for the future. I feel like no matter what we're going through right now, although it might knock us down, but it can knock us out. And that just reminds me of a verse. I'm gonna find it because it's a lovely verse.
Yeah. As he's looking for it, it's just yeah. It makes you think. It's like because yeah, I'm out of words today for some reason.
There are no words. You know that song?
I don't think so.
There's nothing left. All right, for all the
Go
Maverick
ahead,
City
bro.
fans,
Go ahead, bro.
they definitely know that. But yeah, keep going. I just had to, my bad. I couldn't resist the urge.
No, it's okay. The reason I'm like I'm kind of basically out of word and is because there was a point where like I had a trip to like a school trip to Madagascar once. I think a year ago or so, I believe, my sophomore year. And the trip was supposed to last 3 weeks, but I was there for 1 more week. And that 1 more week was not planned at all. Like it was actually because of some document issues I had. And while trying to resolve that, there was also a problem with what's it called? Getting the document needed sent to me. And there was hurricane going on. So everything kind of happened all together. And the reason I keep kind of putting emphasis on like thinking about how like we can just say, oh yeah, you're right, and then move on. But we should actually kind of sit down and think about, like are are we strong in faith enough, to trust in God, Because when I was in that position, like I had completely nothing to do. Like I had completely, I was completely out of control basically. And what it reminded me of a verse that we're going to be going over about Paul and Silas and when they were in prison and praising God. And I was asking myself, how can they stay positive in position they're in? Like, and I was asking myself, how do I do that? Like because there was nothing to to be positive about in that position. There was just like I'm not supposed to be there at that point. Like, but seeing how the people there, treated me, like how they welcomed me in their, in their homes, and then telling me how someone else from because they're like the family that welcomed me in their home said that someone else from a different country, like that their kid went to, their kid had the same like their kid was in the same position, and they basically that family basically welcomed their kid and then like made sure she was okay and everything, and then they said this is us kind of giving back. And I'm like, I got to basically see, how God worked through people and everything. So it's like when we say, like there is, good you see, into positions that you find yourself, that are completely out of control. Although in comparison to, other things, this is basically nothing. But like, um, that's why it's like even like I in that position was like I tried my best to stay as calm as possible, but you can definitely tell, like I can at least, although I was able to like have a smiley face on the outside,
This guy
I
was
was
smiling through the pain.
dude, I was terrified the heck out of my mind. I'm like, dude, what the heck am I gonna do? What if the document gets lost? There was a lot of questions that I was asking. There was a lot of uncertainty.
Tinty.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. But like, so yeah, it's not like really it's not easy, to trust to keep trusting in God, and then like believing that He will do good, and again, for that to happen, we need to have faith,
Yeah.
and definitely, like, we talked about this like last episode, and about how can we have faith.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't know God, if we don't trust in Him, believe in Him, pray, read
Yeah.
the Bible, that faith is not with you at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you can say you have it, but you don't.
Exactly.
Because how can you say I have a relationship with, like you can't say that you can't say you have a relationship with someone you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fact.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to share that, as goodness was check and looking for the verse, uh,
Yeah.
because it's not easy, but um, yeah,
Yeah.
I think I pretty much touched on
I
what
feel
I.
like your story kind of like goes perfectly with like the verse I was looking for. But it's 2 Corinthians 4:8. It says, "We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed, always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be manifested in our bodies. For who we live are always being given over to death for Jesus' sake, so that the life of Jesus also may be manifested in our mortal flesh, so that death is at work in us, but life in you." So here we see, like, Paul is acknowledging those sufferings. He's saying we are afflicted, we are crushed, we are perplexed, we are persecuted, we are struck down. But then he says, but we are not driven to despair, but we are not forsaken, but we are not destroyed. So he's acknowledging those persecutions, being crushed, suffering, going through agony. He's acknowledging those things. He's not acknowledging the knockdowns of life. But he's saying that no matter how many times you get knocked down, no matter how many times the righteous man falls, like, he gets up every time, because God will never allow us to be knocked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that connects to like the next one about how if God is with us, who can be against us?
Yeah.
He's with us.
Mm-hmm. Romans 8:31 to 32. Want to read it?
Okay. Says, what then shall we say in response to these things? If God is for us, who can be against us? He who did not spare his own son, but gave him up for us all, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things?
Yeah. That verse literally says, if God is for us, who can be against us? I feel like we don't really grasp the importance of God being for us. Because if he is for us, that means he's not against us. If he wasn't for us, he would be against us. And we don't want to be, we
Yeah,
don't want God to be against us.
we've seen how that turned out.
Yeah. Sodom and Gomorrah.
Exactly.
So just a quick, I guess, kind of like story of like Sodom and Gomorrah. This was earlier in the Bible in Genesis, with Abraham. And Sodom and Gomorrah were very like sinful, like, cities. And basically Abraham's cousin, which, like, Abraham was the one the Lord promised will have like like a seed that will kind of like outnumber the stars in the heaven, which was Isaac. But Lot's, who was Abraham's cousin, lived in Sodom, I believe, or Gomorrah. Was it? Yeah, I can't remember which one. But basically, Abraham pleads with God not to destroy those cities because of Lot's sake, and because of like his Lot's family and his daughters and everyone around them. And God is so merciful. He's so gracious. He's so kind that he tells Abraham that first. Abraham starts with like, if there are 50 righteous men, will you destroy it? God says no. Abraham says, okay, if there are 40, will you just, God says, no, I won't destroy it. Abraham keeps going. He says, there are 30. God says, I won't destroy it. Abraham even goes down all the way to 10. And God is so merciful and so gracious that he says, like, if there are 10 people in this sinful, God-forsaken place, I won't destroy it for their sake.
Mm-hmm.
And the angels of the Lord, they go to the city, Sodom and Gomorrah, and they couldn't find even one righteous person apart from Lot and his family.
Mm-hmm.
So the angels tell Lot and his family to like leave the city. They're like, God is gonna destroy this place because no one's righteous there. It's a sinful. It's basically like hell on earth. But yeah, so they as they're fleeing, like the angels instruct Lot and his family not to turn back at the city because them turning back at the city means them turning back at on their sin, like turning back at their and like looking at their sin.
Looking at, yeah.
And God rains down fire and like brimstone and from heaven, and God destroys the cities. That's what it means for God to be against to be against people.
But he's not against us.
Yeah, he's for us.
And I guess another, like, just to repeat what we just said, if God is for us, who can be against us?
Yeah. So if the same person that is able to rain down fire, brimstone, and sulfur from heaven is for us, then who on earth, in heaven or on hell, can be against us? Like, I don't care who you are, honestly, at that point. If this same guy, if my God can do this, has this much power, like, I don't want to hear what the opposition is. Like, I don't need to do the scouting report. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. It's over. Before the game even started, we already blew them out by 50.
Goodness. What happened? Oh my goodness, bro.
What happened?
Nothing, bro.
I was really
You just caught me off guard, bro.
personalizing it because, like, come on now.
Yeah, come on now, bro.
Like, if God is for us, who can really be like, who can be against us for real?
Knowing that God is with us regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
I think it's a good, like, reassurance, hope, you know, because we can be for sure that we'll never be alone in this.
Yeah.
I am by no means saying it's going to be easy. Like, I am by no means saying that, you know, disregard the pain or something like that. It's like, but at least we can be sure, you know, God will be with us.
Exactly.
Through it all.
But yeah, Revelation 21:4 says, He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. So that verse is telling us that, yeah, like there's coming a day where there will be no more suffering, there will be no more pain, there's none of that. Just he's gonna wipe away every tear, he's gonna make every wrong thing right. So yeah, that's also the hope same hope we're looking forward to. But I think we should quickly go over like Job. So I feel like when we think about suffering in the Bible, like that's always the first person that comes to mind.
Yeah. Really, like, that guy had it all.
Exactly.
And lost it all.
Like, had it all and lost it.
Okay, it's not funny, but
but yeah, he lost all his property, his children died, and he suffered from great physical agony. My boy had like balls around his body.
Like how? It's
crazy.
That is like, yeah.
But
how?
Yeah. Even to the point of him losing his property, losing his children, being basically a leper. Like, he still didn't curse God.
No.
And mind you, the devil asked for permission to tempt Job. or to like afflict Job. So we already see that nothing happens to us unless God allows it. God is sovereign over everything. But in verse 19 of Job 2, Job chapter 2, verse 19, or verse 9, his wife says to him,
11, yeah.
"Are you still maintaining your integrity? Curse God and die." And Job replied to her, "You are talking like a foolish woman. Shall we accept good from God and not trouble?" In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. So we see that, like in everything, Job was like, the Lord gives and takes away. We were just singing about that in church not too long ago. Oh, by the way, guys, we're recording this on Sunday.
Yeah. It's
again,
it's been
we talked about how long of a week it's been. So
it's been a week. It's been a week. Today actually is the day that I'm a bit better than like, but still, there's still some in me. But yeah, like to your point, goodness, it's like I really like he raises a good point about like, shall we accept good from God? But when is he saying that? Like when after having lost everything, or like yeah. So it's like
Job understood here that what David said, that he's been young, he's been old, he's never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed beg for bread. Job understood here that no matter what happens to him, God will never leave or forsake him. He understood that to the point of like him losing his property, his children, him losing his health didn't affect how much he trusted God.
Yeah, it puts, yeah, it's a great example.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think it's also a good way to kind of conclude, our conversation today. Having said, having talked about what we've mentioned so far. Yeah, I think a good takeaway in this is like making sure that we put our trust in God, regardless of the circumstances. And I think also like it's hard, it really is a very hard topic. Seeing like kind of trying to understand and trying to like get the answer for the why. It's not gonna be the easiest, but according to like the Bible that we just read, like God is with us through it all. So I think keeping that in mind as we go through things, I think is something that what we talked about is basically pointing to. So yeah.
But yeah, I think that's it for the episode. Yeah. And yeah, it was a heavy one, but it was a good one.
It really was.
We really was. Still got to see how good God is, even in the midst of our suffering, our heartaches. So
yeah, we did. Yes, we did.
It's good. But anyways, I think that's it from us.
Yeah, I guess we can call it an episode.
Tie a bow on it, put a string to it, and throw it.
Dude, I'm gonna memorize that, and then like next time, or maybe in the near future, I will be the one saying that. Okay. What did I say last time? Anyway, bro,
put a string to it and throw it. I don't know what.
And get a fish. Oh my god.
But yeah.
Anyway, guys.
Bye. See you in the next one. Love you guys.